Folks, we've got a leaker out of Disney, and they're allegedly telling the articles, the writers, the authors that streaming may be coming to an end at Disneyland and Walt Disney World. Today we'll tell you whether or not it's time for streamers to pack up their bags, or do they have another chance going forward? It's a beautiful day right here on TPP, where all the news should be fun, but sometimes it's quite serious. Such is the case today. Folks, click that like button. We'll get underway talking about whether or not some of your favorite streamers are about to be kicked out of the domestic Disney parks. All right, ladies and gentlemen, take a look at this. Out of the travel. You know, there are some strangely named websites out there, and I run one of those, That Park Place. It's kind of an odd name for a website that covers all kinds of news beyond just the Disney blues. But I got to say, the travel. It's like the science, but it's the travel. TM that, okay? The Travel says by Spencer Bollettieri. I bet I got that right. Bollettieri. Disney World's popular ban on streamers may be enforced sooner than expected. Now, folks, we have covered on That Park Place already that, Disney's considering getting rid of live streaming in their parks, and that's because they've had some big time issues, including calls for the police and that sort of thing. And so we understand to some degree what they're up to, but this is a lot of advertising. The folks who are in the parks and streaming from the parks and taking super chats to go do whatever it is somebody from their cubicle wants them to do. Now, however, the update is from the travel.com that more might be going on, and we're getting some leaks from inside the company. Let's talk about that. Disney streamers and theme park vloggers could soon be facing new bans and content restrictions, as reports suggest they may be forced to shut off the cameras sooner rather than later, with former Disney cast members warning of stricter enforcement around streaming rules. Fans are beginning to wonder what comes next for their favorite online creators, some of whom we're friends with. Across social media, content creators bring thousands of viewers along each day on park hopping live streams. We love park hopping, covering everything from new attractions to parades and shopping trips. However, whether they're on the ground like Walrus Carp, in the air like Bioreconstruct, or even digging through the archives like Defunct Land's Kevin Perjurer, not a great name if you go on trial, theme park content has continued to evolve, and it may soon be the parks themselves shaping what can and can't be shown. Here's what you need to know. According to a former Disney cast member, it's always the former ones that had the juicy stuff, Sweaty Oracle. And there's no better name for somebody with the juicy stuff than Sweaty Oracle. Behind-the-scenes restrictions on streaming are currently being discussed as Disney parks continue to update their guidelines. Known for sharing insights into the theme park industry, the TikTok commentator reports that the potential ban would impact streamers across both Orlando's Walt Disney World and Anaheim Disneyland resorts. We would know that, folks. Otherwise, it's discriminatory, eh? While it would not crack down on all filming, you want mom and pop to, record what happened with the kiddos, then show it to grandma and grandpop and bring them down next time. The purported policy would primarily focus on monetized content. Well, this is different than what I was expecting. I'll explain why. That would include live streamers earning income through ad revenue, viewer donations, or what essentially amounts to live shopping broadcasts from inside the parks. According to Sweaty Oracle, when you buy a ticket to a Disney park, it forbids you essentially from monetizing your visit. Now, that's going to be hard for them to do, I'll say, because, how are they going to go up to you and say, excuse me, are you making money off this stream? Oh, no, it's for free. Okay. I don't know how they would enforce that. I had thought, guys, that they were going to enforce this using equipment bans. Like, you already can't have selfie sticks. They could ban certain types of batteries that these people use to, keep their devices going forever. There are ways to do this. I was not anticipating that they would make it into the policy that you're not allowed to do anything that monetizes your time at Disney, because I don't know how you do that. Wiz, this seems more risky for Disney, and it's also, there are a lot. This is not a few. There are a ton of people who their livelihoods now depend on them walking around the parks, and there are giant channels where there are tens of thousands even sometimes people watching the parks.
I don't know why they would do this. There's got to be a good reason. And the first place
let me tell you, Wiz, there was a swatting incident at Disneyland based on one of these streamers.
There it is. I was going to say it's got to be a liability. It's got to be a liability problem. And they're legitimately seeing that the liability outweighs the absolute marketing branding that they've got with these people. I mean, think about it. You have with how the position that Disney is in, the marketing position where everybody's sick of their stuff. The shows aren't getting viewed. People aren't going to the parks as much. Everybody's got problems with Disney. But here you have people that made it their life to give you money, to go to the park, to constantly be advocating for you, to constantly be giving people the idea of, I want to go to there. And you would take that away. That is, wow. That means the lawyers came down and HR and they both said no more.
And they're more desperate than just about anybody for access because that makes the stream work, right? And so if they can get a cupcake, just give us a drink. There's a guy out there, I think it's Tom Morrow. I could be wrong. I probably shouldn't even say the name. But there was one guy out there, he had some drinks named after him at World Showcase. Those are the kinds of things that if Disney does it, oh my gosh, your stream takes off. Well, that also reciprocally means that these people will say positive stuff about Disney as much as they possibly can because they're making content for people who love the parks more than, definitely more than the people who watch our stuff because we're trying to give a more, I think, neutral view. We talk about the bad, the good, the strikes, the balls, all that kind of stuff. If you're doing streams of, hey, what do you want me to go ride at Disney next? The chances of you being negative about Disney are exceedingly low. It's phenomenal advertising for Disney.
It's going to be really hard to regulate. I mean, it's one thing. Look, in California, Six Flags, which is a weird place to be hyper specific about, but this happened to me. If you're going into some of these parks, they will stop you if you have a gimbal. You could have the little handheld gimbal, which is harmless, and they will stop you. So you can't come in with that. You're not allowed. You can't go in with the selfie sticks. You're not allowed, and that's okay. But I don't know how you're going to stop somebody who's just got their phone out and is recording. They might be FaceTiming with grandma. What are you going to say? You can't be recording here? That's not going to work in Disney.
Right. Are they going to ban people retroactively if they find out, oh, well, you were doing a live stream on our property? Are they going to sue you if they find out that you took a super chat to go ride It's a Small World? Like, this is a strange place to be.
And you can't even elevate it to be like, all right, well, if something happens and we get swatted, you can't even change it to be like, well, the streamers have held accountable, because then that's just going to incentivize bad actors to cause more swatting.
Right. When you could just do something where the police in the area, you would think Disney's, well known with those stations. Disney might say, hey, if you get a call about this, check with us first before you send everybody. Like, there's a pretty good chance we're going to tell you. And yet so what makes me wonder is, do they feel like this is their time? And we've talked about this before. Lauren, I'll go to you on this one. I wonder, is Disney going to roll out some sort of press entry pass that costs more, where you can monetize, where you can stream from the parks, but you got to get approved and you got to pay some sort of fee to Disney to get to do this thing?
Well, my first thought on this was that they don't want people live streaming unless they're on their payroll. It was my first thought with this. But I think they're probably just reacting to this situation where there was a swatting incident. I think that Wizard's right, that they had lawyers and HR suddenly get really concerned about this. They're starting to hand down policy. If they do set this policy, I expect it'll be very short-lived, because as Wizard correctly pointed out, this is a gold mine in free advertising for them. And if they do implement these policies and get who have been their fans turned on them, that's a bad thing to start with. And this will only redound to Universal's benefit. So I would expect Universal to then start saying, hey guys, you want to cover a park? We'll give some of you guys some, and this would also lead to shield type behavior, but how'd you like some free passes to the park to get some recordings? Who's going to turn down that offer? Because if your livelihood is based on this and you suddenly can't go to the main park that you've been going to, if somebody offers you the opportunity to cover another park that's more friendly to you, you'll take it to save your livelihood.
Well, and just think about the negativity. I mean, oh my gosh, if this really is the plan, imagine the articles that are going to come out from people who say, I moved to Disney. I gave them everything and they took it away. And now I'm bankrupt and, I can't even afford a ticket back home. That's the kind of stuff that's in mass. They'll have dozens and dozens of these stories if they pull this, because for so many of these people, they turned this into a career and seemingly were encouraged to do so by the policies that allowed them to go in there with their cameras and gimbals, etc.
Let me jump back to your question as to whether Disney would sell something like a press pass. I think that would be a bad idea, because that sounds like you're paying for access. But on the other hand, it may lead to more honest coverage, because now you're actually paying for the park. Presumably, I hope most of these people already are, but if they're not, well, now you've got some skin in the game, and it might lead you to be a little more honest about what the experience is.
It could. There's the other question, too, of when we're looking at content creation surrounding Disney and these other places, what is in it for Disney? Because this is free content, right? So why destroy positive free content? It's hard to advertise the parks. It's hard to advertise your movies. And this goes to also, I think they made a fundamental mistake when they won't let us play their trailers and talk about their trailers and those kinds of things. I don't understand the relationship they have with the new media. They have the opportunity to have people out there just making stuff for them if they'll allow it. So why not allow it, guys?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy how they would restrict that. Lauren, I like the idea of a kind of an access badge, but I also like the idea of influencers having to pay for it, because then it's their responsibility. Then they're verified. It's not an access point where it's like, oh, well, we only give it to certain people. It's like, no, it's paid for and it's very expensive. I mean, do you think that would work?
I don't know. It depends on what the reaction from those streamers would be. Would they see this as a betrayal? I don't know. Now, I guess it also raises the question of, let's say that you're doing something like this and you're offering what we're going to call a press pass for a large amount of money so that you can get in the gate. Do they then offer special stuff like behind the scenes ability to record and talking with Imagineers and people who work in the parks to get interviews? Do you get perks? And if so, does the audience view that as special treatment that's coloring your reporting? Once you get money involved with this, I think that it becomes awkward trying to determine, are you being honest in your coverage or are you being a shill?
And it gets difficult too, because okay, did you get paid for super chats, or do you have memberships that just kind of exist? And so you're here at the parks because your members wanted you to go to this park, but there's no direct payment. It's based on, subscriptions. Like, this gets really, really complicated. And if I'm Disney, I don't want to be involved in any of it. But streamers, beware, because the House of Mouse just might be kicking you on your derriere after you spent all that money, all that effort, and all that time to get equipped and to be there at the House of Mouse every time the turnstiles are moving.
Thanks for watching That Park Plays News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.